Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been placed under formal investigation by magistrates.
The former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been taken into police custody to be questioned over allegations that he received millions of euros in illegal election campaign funding in 2007 from the regime of the late Libyan Muammar Gaddafi. France opened a judicial inquiry in 2013 into allegations. Mr. Sarkozy, who served as president from the year 2007 to 2012, has been denied receiving any illicit campaign funding and has dismissed the Libyan allegations. Today, our talking point on the program is French ex-president.
Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been placed under formal investigation.
Funding. What next? Hello to you all, and thanks for joining us on the program. It is Views on the Continent on Afrique Media TV, and I really want to apologize for the late start. We had technical issues in the studio. Now, the French former president Nicolas Sarkozy is and remains the only former French leader to be tried or to be held in custody. Under French law, being placed under formal investigation actually means that there exists serious or consistent evidence pointing to probable implication of a suspect in crime, and the suspect of the crime today is former French President Nicolas Sarkozy. He is in custody, I beg your pardon, he's actually in custody today because he received money illegally from the former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, because the leader gave him the money in exchange, as his son Saif says, for help, the help of the Libyan people. But then the former French president did not honor his deal, and we all know the stories between the former French president and the death of Muammar Gaddafi. Before we get into the program proper, I would like us to listen to a report on this whole issue of Sarkozy's police custody. Take a listen, and I will join you right after that.
Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been placed under formal investigation by magistrates in Paris on suspicion of influence peddling and other crimes related to his 2007 election campaign. This is the first time that a French head of state has been held in police custody. Under French law, being placed under formal investigation means there exists serious or consistent evidence pointing to probable implication of a suspect in a crime. Sarkozy's lawyer Thierry Herzog and Judge Gilbert Hassibert are also under formal investigation. The inquiry began when judges looked into claims that the former president of France from 2007 to 2012 received illegal funding from former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Sarkozy's plans of running for president in 2017 look like they could now be in jeopardy.
According to reports we are getting from France, Sarkozy, who was France's right-wing president from the year 2007 to 2012, was being questioned early on Tuesday morning at a police station in Nanterre as part of an inquiry into whether Gaddafi and others in Libya illegally financed his winning election campaign in 2007. If you're just joining us, it's Views on the Continent on Afrique Media TV, and today we are talking about Sarkozy. He is in custody, so the question is, what next for this leader? What do you think should be done? Send us your thoughts. You can join us in the studio today using any of the numbers on the screen. We are going to receive your calls, of course, your contributions contributions are going to go a long way to help the African continent. Why not leave us a message or a comment under the post we put up on Facebook? Views on the Continent, Afrique Media TV. That is our Facebook page. Now we have our first reaction or participant of the day. Hello to you and thanks for joining us on the program.
Everyone watching.
Hello to you and thanks for joining us. We have some difficulty actually getting that caller. Let's just, probably he'll have to call us back. I didn't get the name. Now, France opened a judicial inquiry in the year 2013 into allegations that Sarkozy's successful 2007 election bid benefited from illicit funds from late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Sarkozy, who served as president from 2012 to 2007 to the year 2012, has always denied receiving any illicit campaign funding, and he has dismissed the Libyan allegations. Now, it's Views on the Continent if you're just joining us, and before getting into the reactions, I would like us to listen again to another video on the whole Sarkozy saga in France this morning. Take a listen.
What we've seen this morning is that for the first time ever, a former French president is being formally detained and questioned by the legal authorities here in Paris. And this probably indicates that the investigation is going to gather steam. And they will be looking not only at the persons around former President Sarkozy, but now clearly they are directly investigating the prior behavior of former President Sarkozy himself. There are different outcomes. He can be, at the end of this particular procedure, he can either be indicted for one or more offenses against French criminal law. He can be maintained in the status of a witness or an assisted witness. Depending on which of those three outcomes is the result of this particular procedure, you'll have a better idea as to what his legal status is. Having said that, in France, as elsewhere, there is the presumption of innocence. And whatever the appearances suggest, I think we have to remember that President Sarkozy, his lawyer, and these other gentlemen are all presumed innocent until somebody finds them guilty.
It's Views on the Continent. If you are just joining us, we have our participants on the line. Hello to you and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon to everyone watching the program at this moment. Gina, talking about Nicolas Sarkozy, the former French president, and the charges being levied against him, and he is in custody while we await the 48 hours to know the outcome of the crimes being levied against him. It will be very, very mad if this has any truth in it, because the West aren't particularly used to having African leaders finance their elections or their campaigns, because it is usually the other way around. Then again, African leaders love using their country's resources to finance their international interests. So we can't really say enough until he's been proven guilty. These rotten politicians are still taking donations from dictators until they are no longer needed and a civil war is manufactured in that country, and we all know what comes after. And again, former a former associate of this same Nicolas Sarkozy, that is Alexander Jurik. He was also arrested some few weeks back and later released on bail. So I want to believe that it is in same connection with the charges being put on Nicolas Sarkozy, and we all know after the interrogations and the 48 hours given to him, then at the final verdict will come out, whatever be the case. From there, we'll know what to say and what not to say concerning this case. But for now, we can't really say enough. Let's just wait after the interrogation and for the 8 hours given, then we take it from there. Good day.
Thank you very much. That's Terence Sayong. Terence is waiting for the 48 hours. After it has passed, then we are going to see what next is going to happen. His views on the continent. Let's receive another participant. Hello to you and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Gina. Good afternoon, Afrique Media. Good afternoon, fellow viewers. I think Sarkozy should be convicted and given life imprisonment. You ask what next. As for what next, if he's found guilty, will he be asked to refund the money, or what will be done with the money, or will he just be convicted and that will be it? I think the money should be recovered, and if it is recovered, it shouldn't remain in France. It should be sent back to Libya, and maybe with even more than the amount which will be recovered. It should be sent with damages to Libya to repair the damages that has been done to the economy, because France has done so much to destroy the economy of Africa. I think that money should be recovered and sent back to the Libyan economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Funke. He's joining us from Douala, and he thinks that money which was used to illegally fund Nicolas Sarkozy's campaign so many years ago should be returned to the Libyan people. And that's the same thing that the former leader of Libya's son, Saif, is sharing. That's the same thought. He says this money should be sent to Libya to help the Libyan people. We have another participant. Hello to you and thanks for joining us.
Afrique Media. I think, in my opinion, Nicolas Sarkozy is the worst president that France has ever had. This guy has just been in power from 2007 to 2013. And a whole continent, not even only Africa, but Europe as well, is seeing his fingerprints in what he did in Libya with respect to the taking off of Gaddafi from power. The French law stipulates clean and clear that before you go in for presidential elections, if you're having funds, you should declare the source of those fundings. And it forbids funds coming from foreign powers. So Sarkozy, using business tycoons like the Algerian, France-born Alexandra to smuggle or to do money laundering, bring money from Libya into his country, is forbidden by French law. So I think Sarkozy, it's very guilty, even guilty before even proven wrong, because going by the excerpt that was published in 2014 by one of France's top media houses, France 3, in which Gaddafi claimed in an interview that he put Sarkozy in power. As if that was not enough, the man who even introduced Sarkozy to Gaddafi himself came out clearly in 2016 saying that he received suitcases containing 5 million euros to do the transaction, to hand it over. So these are clear evidence. People are coming out, speaking out, and I don't think it's a matter of looking for more evidence. What more evidence are they looking for? This investigation was opened in 2013, and this is 2018. In fact, the procedure is very, very slow. If you have to compare it with what is happening in the U.S., when you talk about the Russian meddling in the U.S. elections, people have been interrogated in open air. They have been broadcasted on air, and we see how they are being interrogated. Same like with the Hillary Clinton investigation. It was open air. It was immediately. It didn't take that long. So why is the French, why is the one with Sarkozy taking so long? Is it that he has been putting some brakes in the investigation? Does he have insiders that have been struggling to stop this investigation? Anyway, those are not questions for now. The most important thing, and the most important thing for me, will be that Sarkozy should refund that money immediately. That money should be repatriated to Libya because those guys are suffering. And if possible, he should even serve the jail term in Tripoli because those guys are going through misery due to his fingerprints in what he did to Gaddafi. I think Gaddafi's ghost is haunting him wherever he is. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kiven. Of course, the money should be refunded if the former French president is actually found guilty of receiving money from Africa to fund his campaign, his presidential campaign in the year 2007. Let's receive another participant. Hello to you and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon to your crew on board, and a special good afternoon to all the viewers and lovers of Afrique Media. Yeah, Gina, talking about France and Sarkozy, I don't really know what to say because it is really clear that Sarkozy had a mutual understanding with Gaddafi, of which he never really respected his own part of the agreement. And I think he was the main brain behind Sarkozy's death. And before his arrest, yeah, they said they have been questioning him before now concerning illicit spending. That is during his failed campaign to be re-elected. Yeah, just like his predecessor, you remember Jacques Chirac was picked up in 2011. I think France is like trying to maybe paint a picture of democracy or what, I don't know, but we all know who they are. Yeah, so I must say that if at all Sarkozy is guilty, then there is much about this issue that we will learn after, because he was not the only one in charge of Gaddafi's killing, because I know that the entire NATO was involved. So if the killing of Gaddafi was sparked up by Sarkozy for selfish interest, then NATO should have some questions to answer also. Yeah, you will have to involve a lot of people. It's not something that will deal individually. It has to complicate a lot of people if at all Sarkozy is found guilty. Yeah, all I would say is that if at all his trial will benefit the Libyan man in any way, and then it's okay. But if it wouldn't benefit them in any way, then I see no need for them taking him to court. Yeah, the main focus should be to see how they can maybe respect his own part of the agreement to the Libyan people, and maybe refund the money and try to reinstate the economy of Libya, because right now it is in shambles, and all because of selfish interest. Thank you.
I should be the one thanking you. That's Giordone Akumbom. Thanks for your reaction. Now, Quadra Koraman is following on Facebook, and he says Sarkozy should be locked, not just for illicit money, but for masterminding the killing of this great man, and that's of course the former Libyan leader. Let's receive another participant. Hello to you and thanks for joining us.
Hello, good afternoon, Gina and televiewers of Afrique Media TV. When it comes to world politics, I do believe the Frenchman has an upper hand in that domain. About Nicolas Sarkozy's police custody, before I go ahead to say anything, I would like to raise some questions here. In whose interest is Sarkozy being detained and questioned? Is it in the interest of France or Libya? Gina, I think Sarkozy is just a victim of political witch hunting. The French politicians are using his past to destroy his political career. What next for Sarkozy? He should be investigated. If found guilty by any competent court, he should be prosecuted according to the French law. If truly the investigation is in the interest of Libya, then if found guilty, Gina, the money he illegally received from Muammar Gaddafi should be repatriated to Libya and pumped back into the economy. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lasher Kingsley. Of course, almost everybody is for the fact that if this is actually for the good of the Libyan people, then after the trial, of course, a trial is only going to come up if Nicolas Sarkozy is found guilty, then the money should be refunded to the Libyan people. And that's the same fight or the same course that the former Libyan leader's son is supporting, that this money be given back to the Libyan people. Because in the first place, when Nicolas Sarkozy came to Libya as the interior minister of France, he was given aid or given the money so that he could help the Libyan people. But then to him, Libya was not helped. That's what the former Libyan leader's son, Saif, was telling Euronews in the year 2011. And so if this money was given for nothing and the people of Libya were not helped, then that money should be given back to the Libyans. Of course, it's going to help them. Libya has been through a lot. Let's receive another participant. Hello to you and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Regina. Good afternoon, the viewers of Africa Media. Concerning today's topic, the former first French President Nicolas Sarkozy in prison custody over campaign funding. What is next? Regina, let me begin to say this. It is being said, when a purpose of a thing is not known, the abuse is inevitable. Some of our leaders today doesn't know the purpose of leadership. That is the reason why they abuse it. Any leader who doesn't have a self-discipline, which is moral, integrity, and fear of God, which is the beginning of wisdom. Whenever they are in power, they thought they are the Alpha and the Omega, not knowing that whatever has a beginning will end one day. One thing that I want you to know has been said: whatever a man soweth, he shall reap. I believe Sarkozy is reaping what he has sowed in the life of the late Gaddafi. One thing I want you to know, that he cannot escape it, because Mediapart, which is a French media, have opened the eyes of the world that the killing of Gaddafi came from Nicolas Sarkozy, because he wants to review the funding of the campaign that he did. It has come to high time that our leaders should know that nothing that is done in secret that will not come out one day. He succeeded killing Gaddafi, but he is not going to go free because the time of his judgments have come. I just want our leaders all over the world to learn a lesson for what has happened to Sarkozy. You are not a boss over the people that you are leading. You are being chosen to be a servant and not to be a wicked leader. Thank you, Regina.
Thank you very much. That's Mr. Tayu. He's joining us from Douala in Cameroon. I'd like us to take another short break and listen to this video still on the former French leaders' whole issue. Probably let's just call it a scandal, which is ongoing now in Paris. It began so many years ago. It's not starting just today. A case was opened on that, and investigations have been going on. Take a listen.
Nicolas Sarkozy is fighting to keep his presidency, but rather than looking towards the crucial vote next week, he's being forced to address questions from his past, namely who funded his successful presidential campaign in 2007. Because this scanned document suggests the former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi bankrolled the Sarkozy campaign to the tune of $66 million. It's allegedly signed by former Libyan Foreign Minister Moussa Koussa and names Sarkozy's right-hand man, Brice Hortefeux. Investigative journalist Edoui Plenel released the evidence through his online newspaper and is now urging an official investigation.
It's a big crime. You cannot take money from a foreign state. Not do that. It's against the law.
It's not the first time Sarkozy has faced these accusations. Questions were raised in 2007 when Gaddafi had the red carpet rolled out for him on a visit to Paris. Sarkozy's been denying money was exchanged ever since.
It's grotesque, and I'm sorry that I'm being interrogated about allegations over Gaddafi or his son on an important channel like TF1.
But for the Socialist Party, this answer is not enough. It's become a political issue now, and in a statement earlier, they demanded a judicial investigation be opened with an independent judge.
That's in that video, I'm sure you noticed former French president denying all of these allegations, saying that he did not receive any money from the former Libyan leader, who is now of late Muammar Gaddafi. Same Muammar Gaddafi who was killed in Libya, and all hands or all fingers have been pointing to the West, especially France. Now, people today are very happy that this has brought so many things to the light, but then their whole worry is if this is not going to help the Libyan people, then such a case or such an investigation should not even be going on in the first place. But then if it is for the good of the Libyan people, the common man in the streets of Libya, then it should be done. And if Nicolas Sarkozy is found guilty, his money, the money he used for the campaign, should be refunded, all of it, and even charged charges should be paid, and it should be used for the Libyan people. Now, Clovis Ngenge is watching, and he says if found guilty, he should be locked up and the money be refunded to the Libyan government to boost their economy. Let's receive another participant. Hello to you and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Gina. Good afternoon, Afrique Media. Good afternoon to all the televiewers of this program. I want to say, if truly the Western world are still receiving and our dictators are still taking our resources to the Western world, it is a very sad story. But I won't blame Gaddafi because Gaddafi thought this would be a good one for them and Africa. That's why maybe he was helping Nicolas Sarkozy to fund his election as president. So I want to say that it's of no use right now taking him to police custody because, by the way, the person who helped him is no more. It's no more. So I don't know if only they can recover this money and then give it back to Libya to help the people of Libya, because the situation in Libya is very, very deplorable. It is very, very deplorable. So let them, if truly they can recover back this money, it will help the Libyans back home. Thank you very much, Gina. Good day.
Thank you very much. That is Peter. Thanks for your contribution. It's Views on the Continent on Afrique Media TV. If you're just joining us today, and we are talking or looking at the fate of the former French President Nicolas Sarkozy, who as of now is under French police custody for using illegal money to fund his campaign. This money was taken from Libya in 2007, and the president served as the French leader from the year 2007 to 2012, meaning that the money he received for his campaign was actually quite useful because he became president. And the former president of Libya's son has been saying this money was given for or in exchange for the fact that France had to help Libya, the Libyan people. We do not know what type of help he was talking about. But then this, as of today, so many people are talking about this money, and they are hoping that the money actually comes in back to Libya. If at all the French leader is guilty, the money should come back to the Libyan people, and it's going to help revive the Libyan economy. I'd like us to listen again to another video on the whole scandal issue ongoing now in France. Take a listen.
No sooner does French President Nicolas Sarkozy enjoy a small lead in the polls ahead of elections next month than his reputation comes under renewed attack from a left-leaning website. Sarkozy angrily denied accusations on live TV that he received money from deposed Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi to fund his first election campaign. The website Mediapart alleges that the Libyan regime gave 50 million euros. When challenged on the allegations, Sarkozy answered, "If he had funded it, then I haven't been very grateful." His son, Saif al-Islam, asserts that you received money from Gaddafi's family. I'm not sure that he makes a good witness. Gaddafi, who was known for talking nonsense, has even said there were checks. We'll ask his son to present them. This is grotesque, and I'm sorry that on a big channel such as TF1, I'm asked about statements made by Mr. Gaddafi or his son. In March 2011, in an interview on Euronews, Gaddafi's son claimed that his father had funded Sarkozy's presidential campaign in 2007. Sarkozy must repay Libya the money he took for his election campaign. We financed it. We have all the details and we're ready to publish them. The first thing we ask of this clown Sarkozy is that he repay the money to the Libyan people. We helped him become president so that he would help the Libyan people, but he's disappointed us, and soon we'll publish all the details. Gaddafi's son was captured in November 2011 trying to leave Libya following the fall of the regime. There's confusion over whether he'll face trial at home or by the International Criminal Court in The Hague on charges of crimes against humanity.
It's Views on the Continent, and today we are discussing the implications of having money from another country to fund your campaign. And of course, in France, it is illegal. That is why Nicolas Sarkozy is in so much trouble today. Michel is watching us, and he says he could not avoid it. That is, Sarkozy could not avoid it, and he knew he had it coming. He claimed several times that he had nothing to do with any financial case from Libya. But where there's a fine, where there is a fire, there's going to be a flame. Mr. Sarkozy, explain yourself and speak up now. The whole wide world is listening, and we have up to 48 hours to see what is going to happen to Mr. Nicolas Sarkozy. We have a caller. Hello to you, and thanks for joining us. Sir, please step away from your TV set, and then you go ahead with your contribution.
Hello.
Yes, please tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
Okay, I'm George Shukri. I'm calling from Bananda.
Okay, go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Okay, I just wanted to say that maybe that's really a good one for the Africans to see, because for the first time, an African, a president from the West, a president from the West has been caught and is suspected for illicit financial flow, let me say corrupt money. So we just wait to see, because they say it's under custody. We want to see how far they will go with the case, because if it's under custody today as a president, that is a sign that maybe there are things that the investigators have seen that are true. So they decide to put him under custody in order to do proper investigation. So I think that we should just keep our fingers crossed and watch and see what will be the outcome, because he may still come out guilty, because they say he's going to be proven guilty, or you know what I'm saying. So we're waiting. But I'm happy that France is able to pick him up and put him under custody to see that the allegations are either true or false.
Okay, thank you so much for your...
So when we finally will see what will be the outcome, then we'll know what to say. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I should be the one thanking you. And of course, everybody's waiting for the outcome, if he's going to be guilty or not. Before we go, Patrick says there's something about the phrase former president in jail that gives me a stronger sense of optimism and hope. Fellow viewers, that's all we have for you today. We have come to the end of the program. You can continue discussing the topic on our Facebook page, Views on the Continent, Afrique Media TV. Thank you so much for watching. From wherever you're watching us, it's goodbye for now.